All right, let's get to it. NFL picks against the spread. Just pulling up the quick standings in our WMSC Sports poll. Sean Martin took the lead 2 weeks ago by me on one game, and I took it right back last week with a 12-2 record, up by 3 games on Sean Martin with a phenomenal record, 96-50 on the year. Sean Martin, 93-53. Sam Flesher, 92-54. Tyler Monahan, 89-59. And Nick Flaherty, 88-58. We all got Pittsburgh right on Thursday night. There's a shocker. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cleveland Cavaliers, with the Jaguars favored by 7.5. Now, this game doesn't need that much explanation. The Jaguars, they are sneaky good. We all know that. The Cleveland Browns, they are not the slightest good at all. It's not a matter of if Jacksonville's going to win this game. It's going to be a matter of how much Blake Bortles and that offense puts on the Browns. Give me the Jaguars to win and to cover. The Baltimore Ravens at the Green Bay Packers, with Baltimore favored by 2. This one's tricky, and to me it almost feels like a trap game for the Ravens. Yeah, you have no Aaron Rodgers on the Green Bay side. Yes, Green Bay is shaking up a little bit, but Baltimore has been very, very inconsistent this year. Brett Hundley played a great game against Chicago last week. I like the momentum that Green Bay's on. They're at home. Forget the points. Green Bay, I will take them to win outright. The Arizona Cardinals at the Houston Texans, with Houston favored by 1.5. Again, another tough game here. No Deshaun Watson for the year, out with a torn ACL. You got Tom Savage starting here for the Texans. Arizona, again, is another one of those sneaky, really inconsistent teams. It is at home. You do have that Houston defense to worry about. I honestly think Carson Palmer won't do much with the ball. I will take Houston to win and cover. The LA Rams at the Minnesota Vikings, with the Minnesota Vikings favored by 2.5. This one's tough too, and another trap game to me for the Vikings. A team where you really don't know where their heads are at, but they are at home this week. But the Rams have played some of the best football I've seen all season. You look at a guy like Jared Goff. You look like a guy like Todd Gurley. That defense that we knew has always been good. And now they're finally starting to put it together. I like the matchup here. I think it's going to be a great game, but I'm not a fan of the spread. I will take the Rams to win outright and get a win on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. The Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears, with Detroit favored by 3. Chicago is one of those teams that will get a win at the most unimaginable times this season. They've done that against Pittsburgh. They've done that against some teams this year. You look at a team, though, like Detroit, where the same thing. They have coughed up big types of games all season. This is a big game for Detroit. The NFC North is up in the air with now Aaron Rodgers out for the year. Green Bay is not going to the playoffs. So you got a team like Detroit right now that still has an opportunity to crawl back and win this thing. They need a big win against Chicago. They need it on the road. Use that as momentum to go and win this game by 20 points. I'll take Detroit to win and cover. The Washington Redskins at the New Orleans Saints, with the Saints favored by 7.5. I'll say this right now. The Saints will not lose in the Dome. This Saints team has surprised a lot of people all year. The defense isn't exactly great. It's not 100% dominant. But the offense has clicked on cylinders that we never expected this year. I picked the Saints to finish last in July. They're going to win the NFC South. And if they have to do it in the Dome, they're going to do it. Washington, I feel bad for you. New Orleans is going to wipe the floor with you by 30 points. I will take the Saints to win and cover. The Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Giants. KC favored by 10 on the road. We went in the beginning of the show about this. Ben McAdoo, number 1, should not be employed today. That's number 1. Number 2, Ben McAdoo should have been forced to walk back to New York when they lost to San Francisco last week. Kansas City needs a big win. They need a dominant win. The Giants and the team to get it on. Look for guys like Alex Smith. Look for guys like Tyreek Hill. Look for guys like in that defensive secondary. They are going to dominate the Giants all day long. KC wins and covers easily. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Miami Dolphins. Tampa favored by 1. Interesting matchup here. No Jameis Winston for the Bucs. Miami has been struggling. This game is at home. I think the fans will come out and support. This, I think, will be one of the closer games of the week. But to me, right now, I got to put my money on Matt Moore and Jay Cutler. I got to put my money on Adam Gase. I think Miami will have enough. They'll make enough plays to come out and win this thing. Miami wins. Miami covers. Buffalo Bills at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers favored by 5.5. I don't know what the hell has gone on with the Bills so far. They started out the year so strong as a dominant contender, and then all of a sudden they're losing horrific games at home. They got blown out by the Saints at home last week. I don't know. I'm pretty much saying that Buffalo's season is just winding down right now. It's only a matter of time. Chargers are due for a big win. I think they get it at home. Chargers win and cover. Denver Broncos hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Denver favored by 2.5. This is a big game where Denver's defense needs to click and get back on track. This is a game where you're going to look for guys like Trevor Siemian or Brock Osweiler, either or that starts. You're going to look for them to be dominant against a bad Cincinnati defense. I take Denver to win. I take Denver to cover. New England Patriots at the Oakland Raiders. New England favored by 7.5. This was a game last year we had circled on our calendars. This was a game that we had circled and was like, this will be the greatest game of the year. I don't consider it to be that much anymore. Oakland Raiders have severely underperformed this year. Derek Carr has not been as good as he once was. The defense has not performed up to par. And New England is due for a big win as well. New England, they're finally starting to find their stride back. I think New England takes this as a big opportunity to wipe what we thought was going to be the dream matchup of 2017. New England wins. New England covers. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys, with Philly favored by 5. Biggest game of the year for the Dallas Cowboys. And I mentioned it in the last segment. I don't think it's the end of the world if Dallas loses the game. With that being said, I think Philly is too hot. I think they are explosive. I think the front seven is going to give Dak and Alfred Morris, Des Bryant, I think they're all going to have problems tomorrow night. I think this is going to be the best game of the week. I think for Philly, it is almost like a trap game. I think Carson Wentz is going to make mistakes. I think that offense is going to drop passes. I think there are going to be opportunities in the red zone where Philadelphia doesn't come through. But at the end of it all, with Philly favored by 5, I'm going to take Dallas with the points. I think we're going to have one of those games. But I do think at the end of it all, Philly's going to come out with the win. Philadelphia 24, Dallas 21. Philly wins. I'll take Dallas with the points. Atlanta Falcons at the Seattle Seahawks, with Seattle favored by 2.5. It's very difficult to bet against Seattle at home. Atlanta had a big win against Dallas last week, and they're finally starting to find their stride now. Julio Jones is getting involved. Right now, and the big issue now is Devonta Freeman is not going to play in Seattle. That is a big disadvantage for the Atlanta running game. You're going to have to rely a lot on Tevin Coleman to pick up the pieces in a Monday night primetime game in Seattle. You got to go up against the 12th man. You have to go up against Russell Wilson, who has been playing pretty good. You have to go up against a defense that has been consistent. I don't like Atlanta's chances without Devonta Freeman. Seattle favored by 2.5. I'll take Seattle to win and cover.